Our next speaker is Dr. Jennifer Jocko, a member of Algonquins of Pikwakanagan, who works in obstetrics and gynecology. She will share her journey of returning to the traditions of Mother Earth as a way to reconnect with her heritage and to rediscover her path to wellness. Bojo.
Ani Kwekwe Wicha. Nin Jennifer Nadijikaus. I'm a member of the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan, but the language, like many teachings in my culture, I did not learn. When I took first year nursing here at Laurentian way back in the day, maybe 1992, I took an elective introductory to Ojibwe. So my opening was, hi, my name is Jennifer, not an Algonquin, but Ojibwe. Land acknowledgement has certainly taken a political turn, obligation of sorts, in all realms of meetings, conferences, etc. I see it as not just acknowledging the traditional territory that we're on, but also what this territory has provided me. I acknowledge and thank the Creator for this traditional land, as it provides me the water I swim in, and paddle through. It provides the trees that shade me and trails that I walk on that help clear my mind. Provides the medicines I use to smudge and the fish and meat that we eat. I want to say a special chimigwich to Anna DeFeria, the grad student tasked with trying to fit into my schedule and my medicine wheel for tonight. Atikameksheng is Mother Earth. Looking at the logo on my first slide, the bear is a protector of natural medicines. Water is the blood of our Mother Earth. Without clean water, our human family and all of our relations are gravely impacted. We have been taught to care for the water. The eagle and the spirit are in many of our teachings. The eagle is the highest flying winged relation. It is a messenger. Lastly, Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun symbolize balance. Atikameksheng Aboriginal Health Center here in Sudbury and my warrior sister, Angela Recollet, came into my life within a month of being here in Sudbury. I work there about once a week. When I am there, the air smells of smudge. I often can hear a drum. I breathe differently when I am there. Teachings and ceremonies such as smudge, tobacco offerings, sharing circles, food offerings were not passed down to me. My mom, my aunties and uncles have had to learn these things. My uncle is an Eagle staff carrier. My cousin, Ghislaine Goudreau, has played a role in helping me learn about the different teachings, about how to connect to the spirit of life, and how to connect, respect, and care for Atikameksheng, Mother Earth. In situating myself, I live and work here in Sudbury, as well as Manitoulin Island as an obstetrician gynecologist. I work at the eastern door, bringing life into the world, but I also walk with people through their reproductive journey. I am more than just an OBGYN, though. I am, well, if you hadn't noticed, going gray. But I'm Indigenous, I'm First Nations, I'm Native, I answer to all those things. I did not grow up in reserve. Ceremony and language not passed down to me due to the trauma experienced by our ancestors at Spanish residential school. In medical school, I was one of few Indigenous students, but with it came a pressure to be the token Indian, the checkbox, called upon by other students, professors to explain what is a First Nations, what is a reserve, what is residential school. This continued as I became one of Canada's rare Indigenous OBGYNs. I was on the CBC radio after I matched to my residency. This definitely does not happen normally. I was asked in my interview, what am I hoping to achieve? What are my goals? And my answer, simply, I just want to raise good kids and hope that being away from them doing my 5-year residency didn't affect them too much. You know, mother guilt. But really the pressure to be called upon to sit on committees and boards, I felt more and more like a checkbox. We all carry so much. It wasn't until 2019 my cousin helped me learn about my medicine wheel. Then it started to become clear what I truly needed. My cousin G and I reconnected at a family gathering in June 2014. I had just finished residency. Her grandmother and my grandfather were siblings. Due to the impacts of residential school, her father and brothers ended up separated, and her dad was adopted by a French-Canadian family, hence her name. But over the years, she's reconnected with our family. My mother and siblings grew up along the Ottawa River in a shanty shack until the Hydro Dam people came up and told them they'd had to move because the land was going to be flooded due to the dam they were making up the Ottawa River. My grandfather heard that there was someone in Mattawa who he could get work with making canoes. But it's hard not to talk about how proud I am also to have a very famous cousin, George Armstrong. He made history as the captain of the Leafs when they last won the Stanley Cup. Sorry for those missing the game so far tonight. I don't have any updates, but hopefully this is their year. The world has been navigating a pandemic since March 2020, and we still are, despite what some government officials may think. But in March 2020, I was in my 6th year here. You can ask my family and my colleagues, but I literally lived at the hospital or in my office. I lived for my work, bringing life into the world, cutting out cancer, holding someone's hand, telling them a diagnosis, telling them the outcome of their surgery. In my early years of working in medicine, I often spoke of trying to walk in both worlds, that of Western medicine and traditional medicine. But had I really? The pandemic made me realize a couple of things, well, many things. One, my work is important, but so is my family. I also realized I had additional work to do on myself. 6 months into the pandemic, I had been struggling with going to work. I was scared to go to work. Then and this is the place I love to be at. I then also was scared for my people, because I also realized that they were often scared to go to the hospital anytime. I had created a place for myself at the hospital, working hard, trying to fit in, being the face of what felt like a checkbox. I also worked hard to try to create a safe place for my people. I would habitually tell a story about my patient and their family, why they were coming for induction of labor, why they needed this surgery tonight. And I realized I was telling a story, I was humanizing them in the eyes of my colleagues and nurses, managers. I led a sharing circle in September 2020 with my warrior sisters alongside me. We told our stories and those of our brothers, our sisters, our aunties, our relations, and their experiences in the institution. It literally broke me. I still find it hard to talk about. But I also realized my coping mechanisms were not the healthiest. So in January 2021, I embarked on a journey of healing, learning, and wellness. I thought back to the fall of 2019 when my cousin G asked me to present at her class. She's a professor at Cambrian. All health program students are supposed to take her class. It was the first time I prepared differently for a talk, although I can now add this one to the bunch. I learned the medicine wheel. My cousin G helped me. In medicine, we do self-assessment, we do self-evaluation, we self-reflect, but the medicine wheel for me was a self-assessment exercise I had never done before. The 4 components of the medicine wheel are physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects. What physical activities do you do to nurture your body and to be healthy? Mental is taking care of the mind, learning new things. Spiritual is connecting with others, your culture, nature, a higher being. Emotional is expressing feelings and having positive relationships with others. In my struggles after the sharing circle, I remembered my medicine wheel. Medicine wheel teachings, the biggest thing that I learned and still use to this day are when I get asked to do something, sit on a committee, do a talk, I ask myself, does it fit in my medicine wheel? Or if I'm complaining about it, my cousin G asked me, does it fit in your medicine wheel? In assessing my current commitments, I recently stepped down from a role that I had cherished for years, but it was no longer within my medicine wheel. So I try to balance my medicine wheel, but it's not always balanced, that's for sure. My cousin has introduced me to the drum. She did her master's thesis on it, if you can imagine that, and I think that's amazing. The drum is used during ceremony and represents the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Full moon ceremony is held around the full moon each month. It's time to sing, drum, and honor Grandmother Moon. I did my first full moon ceremony in July last year. It was Raspberry Moon. It was a time to honor family, gentleness, and kindness. July was a tough month, and it still is. Each moon ceremony has different teachings. In ceremony, the woman gives thanks, but it's also a time for release each month. We did another full moon ceremony in February. It was about -15, and the wood was frozen. I couldn't get a fire started, so what do? I sent my kid to the corner store to pick up $9 kindling. in true Native fashion. I started working on tanning a moose hide. I learned this from YouTube and Instagram, just like us modern natives do these days, as well as trying to channel my auntie who used to do them. Working on the hide is quiet work. It gets me outside in all weather. My cousin G's been there. My other warrior sister, Erin Peltier. My cousin G and I also took up skate skiing this winter, at least we tried. Skiing with her was good for my medicine wheel. My mother and my kids and my husband helped me with the hide. My husband especially, because he brings me the hide. Some girls get diamonds for their birthdays, and the last 2 birthdays I've gotten a moose hide. He finally let me buy an extra freezer because it was taking up too much room. It's a very long process. I think it's going to be another 5-year residency, unfortunately. Because it will be 5 years for anybody gets moccasins. So I've been trying to do that too. I'm practicing. I'm learning how to make moccasins and mitts so that when my hide is ready in 5 years, I can use it. It's such a good feeling to be able to make them. I've been working on finishing the last pair of moccasins since Christmas for my daughter. I carry them around with me everywhere I go. So if I get a minute or need to sit through a 2-hour Zoom meeting, I whip out my sewing. Rediscovering and relearning our traditions has been key in my connection and reconnection to the traditions and culture, and as well to my overall wellness. The medicine wheel, learning ceremony, singing, is helping me navigate the world today, my world, this pandemic, as a physician and a healthcare worker. It's also helping me be a better person, and a better mother, and a better wife, daughter, sister, auntie, and physician. I really appreciate your time this evening, and it was an honor to be here. Chimigwech.